Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Chini Yamti, the first one in Liberia, a gentleman whose ambition is to plant 1 million trees. And again, cleaning beaches in Liberia. He joins us from Monrovia, and I have to say, we might have some internet issues, but we will keep going. Karibu sana, Charles. As we say here in Nairobi, Karibu is welcome. Today we have Charles Morgan. Welcome to the show. If you could just quickly give us a background of who is this guy.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Thank you very much. It's an honor being on your platform.
Very much as well from this side. You are joining us from Monrovia, and many people do not understand where this place is. It's in West Africa, but West Africa. If you could just give us a quick geographical painting of where Liberia is for the people that are watching.
Thank you very much. Liberia is in West Africa, and on the north you have Guinea. On the east you have Ivory Coast. On the west you have Sierra Leone, and on the south you have the Atlantic Ocean. Liberia is the first independent state in Africa, and it's also home to the Upper Guinean Forest, which is the second largest remaining rainforest in Africa. Liberia has more than 40% of this forest. So thank you very much, and I'm honored to be on the platform.
Thank you very much. I think it will be good to paint the picture for someone who doesn't know on what are we going to be talking about today. I'm going to be playing a video that you recorded a while ago, talking about the work that you do before we proceed. But for you who's watching, please leave a comment, make it respectful, and you'll enjoy this podcast all the way from Liberia.
Hello everyone, this is for Beach Liberia, and we are working along with the people of West Point. We are working along with Real Lives. We are working along with Climate Life. We are working along with Bell Foundation. And we are carrying on an awareness in West Point. And as you see here, this place used to be a lagoon, but now it's filled with plastic. So we are trying to be creative to find sustainable solutions that can impact some of these, that can reduce some of these plastic. So hello everyone, this is for Beach Liberia, and we are working along with the people of West Point. We are working along with Real Lives. We are working along with Climate Life. We are working along with Bell Foundation. And we are carrying on an awareness in West Point. And as you see here, this place used to be a lagoon, but now it's filled with plastic. So we are trying to be creative to find sustainable solutions that can impact some of these, that can reduce some of these plastic. So this is a resident of West Point. Can you please introduce yourself?
So I'm Amos Constance, and I'm working along with the Township Commissioner as Director for Sanitation. So to speak to the lagoon issue a few years back, because we don't have a dump site, we thought of wasting all of our waste into the lagoon, for which today the lagoon is clogged, and this is our major challenge in the township. Yes. It was water that was running through, and you could see living structure into it. Yes, but then because we lack dump site, so we face challenge with this land.
Okay. So what you think are some of the ways? What you think are some of the things that you need for this place to be as clean as it was before?
Yeah, if humanitarian group or national government or other partners can help us with that machine to collect all of the dirt, and then you will see that we'll open the end there where the water will be.
All right, so we are back, and we're just talking about, what the possibilities are in terms of maintaining our environment. And there in Liberia, you have Charles joining us right now from Monrovia. Charles, even as we start off this conversation, there are things that connect us as Africans, and development is one of them. Maybe if you could quickly speak about the work that you do, the organization that you run, and this picture. Former President Sir Salif Johnson. We go quick start with that one. Walk us through.
Yes. So as you said, there are things that connect us together as Africans, especially the challenges that we face. We all face similarities and challenges, and also we all have um, diversity, and we all have things in common. So, for example, the climate crisis that the entire world is facing, Africa is not excluded.
Yep.
And in other parts of Africa, you see most time people are facing drought, especially in East Africa, also in Sub-Saharan Africa. People are faced with drought and also flooding and also other environmental challenges. So we all have similar challenges and we all have similarities. So therefore, we are all interconnected.
Amazing. And that picture you took, I would assume that's an event that you had with the former president. If you could just talk about it as we walk through your work as well.
Yeah, sure. So that was on her birthday. That was like 2 years ago, and I was privileged to attend her birthday. And her birthday is one day after mine, so I was able to tell her about it, and also we had like a brief discussion to her about some of the work we are doing in Liberia, and also to continue to do more.
Amazing. Sorry, we lost you a little bit there, but we'll still keep hammering on. As I told you, who is watching, as you leave your comments, we might be having connection challenges because he's joining us from Liberia, and there sometimes is problems with connection. But 1 million trees is what your goal is. If you could just quickly talk about it and the work that you do on the beaches, I would assume that you start with Monrovia.
Yeah. So this is a goal of for Beach Liberia, the organization that I'm a part of and a co-founder of.
Okay.
I am the program leader for Beach Liberia, and our goal is to plant 1 million coconut trees in the non-coastal counties of Liberia, specifically coconut trees because it helps to protect vulnerable coastal communities, and it also serves as a natural barrier to protect these communities from environmental degradations like sea level rise,
Yeah.
like storm surges, like landscape erosion, and it also enhances lost ecosystem and regenerate biodiversity. It also boosts tourism, and it also help to increase tree cover and help to enhance filtering the air to make it clean. And it also sequesters carbon by reducing carbon emission from the atmosphere, of which are one of the major causes of climate change. So they started as a need because Liberia as a coastal country have 9 coastal counties,
Okay.
and these counties are being eroded on a daily basis due to sea level rise, due to environmental degradations that are caused by climate change and other factors. So in Liberia too, we do not have technology and all of um, these barriers to be able to protect our vulnerable community from environmental degradations. For example, other countries have dikes, other countries have revertment, coastal revertment, but in Liberia, yeah, these things are lacking, and many vulnerable communities do not have these resources to adapt, or climate resilience to adapt to the disasters that they are faced with every day. So this started with the idea of us planting trees, which is a nature-based solution to combat environmental degradations in our country, and specifically in vulnerable communities that are on the brink of erosion because of climate disasters caused by climate change. So that that's where this vision was birthed, and that's how we started the journey. And we are still on the process to plant 1 million trees along Liberia 9 coastal counties. And out of Liberia 15 counties, 9 of them are along the coast. And as you know, right now climate change is causing the melt of the Arctic and Antarctic, and huge ice that are twice the size of football fields are being melted into the ocean on a daily basis, and this keeps increasing sea level rise,
Okay.
which is increasing turbulent climate disasters, especially on vulnerable communities. And Liberia is not an exception because, according to research, rich countries and rich cities like Miami in Florida, cities like Osaka in Japan, and other countries, for example, as we see the Maldives and other small island nations like Vanuatu, are being eroded to the brink and are at the rate of extinction. Therefore, there is a need to protect vulnerable communities from climate disasters.
You are from Liberia, and of course, the neighboring countries like Guinea, Sierra Leone, um, are all facing almost the same challenges because these are small countries whose GDP is probably smaller than most of ours. Liberia, also looking at the history from which it comes from, and all that it does in terms of adapting to what the bigger countries or the richer countries are causing is still a hurdle. And you've been in the forefront of tackling climate change, but most importantly cleaning the beaches in Liberia. What inspired you is what I'm wondering. Where did it all start? Why does it matter to you?
So, actually, what inspired me was, or who inspired me firstly, was a Kenyan, and that was Wangari Maathai in the Green Belt movement. As you know, Wangari Maathai and the Green Belt movement planted more than 40 million trees in Kenya and across East Africa. And this started just from a single person idea, and also from a group of ordinary people coming together and believing that they could take action to protect the environment. And therefore, by taking little actions, they were able to plant more than 40 million trees in Kenya and across East Africa. So Wangari Maathai, which is the first African, the first black person or female to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And for her as an ordinary person to be able to plant more than 40 million trees is inspiring. Even though she is no longer here, but her legacy lives on, and it keeps inspiring people all across the world.
And just knowing that this is also inspired by, someone based here in Africa, someone who went against the odds to make sure that, there is fight. It's never an easy thing. Wangari Maathai here in Kenya inspires us a lot because of, we would say, Karura Forest, which is one forest that is located almost next to the city. We also know of Uhuru Park, which you're proud of, where you can, access now because of the efforts that she had. And that one person's efforts really bore fruits, and we are seeing it generations later. So your desire to keep Liberia clean and planting 1 million trees. Liberia is not a big country, and I'm just assuming what really, because you're talking about coconut trees, what really inspires you to focus on that specifically?
So specifically, the reason that inspired me or ignited this this spark to make change is because, for example, in 2014 alone, more than 100,000 Liberians were affected by flood. And flooding is something that happens on a daily basis in Liberia. Sometimes when flood comes, people do not go to school, people activities get stopped, and also flood also destroys people's homes. Flood go into people's home and it disrupt people's livelihoods. Sometimes it destroy people's home. And looking at this cause, especially I've also have family members that have been affected, and also have friends and also know people personally that have been affected. This was one of the key reasons that inspired me and my colleagues to be able to take action. So in 2017, some of my family members that live in Newtown in Monrovia, they were affected due to coastal flooding. And not just them, but many coastal communities in Liberia, including West Point, where you showed the video that you showed, that was West Point.
Yeah.
And other parts of Liberia, including other counties like Sino counties, Buchanan, Grand Bassa counties, Grand Bassa County, and other counties, they are being affected on a daily basis due to flooding. And coastal flooding is destroying homes. And also in Buchanan, the seaport that is there, some part of it has been eroded due to the same factor. So this is one of the main reasons that inspire me and my colleagues to be able to take action.
Many
so
Kenyans...
I co-founded for Beach Liberia with a colleague of mine.
Okay.
His name is Mr. Steve Kona. The two of us started the organization with this goal to be able to plant trees, specifically coconut trees, because they have a fibrous root which is very strong, and it protects the soil from landscape erosion. And the reason that we are doing this is also because, as I said, the lack of technology. For example, early warning system. For example, other countries have dikes, other countries have coastal revertement, and other climate resilience. But in Liberia, we do not have these things. And we are faced with climate disasters on a daily basis. So that is why we are taking this little action using nature to be able to combat some of the disasters that are caused by nature.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are with Charles, who's joining us from Monrovia in Liberia. So Charles Morgan is the founder of that organization he just mentioned, and he's been on the forefront of cleaning their beaches, as well as with a goal to plant 1 million trees. Many Kenyans probably don't relate to, coastal flooding, because most of us live in what we call Bara. They're far away from, the coastal line. But Liberia is considerably surrounded by water, the Atlantic. Maybe historically you would know what happened in that side of Africa. So we now want to see the journey basically, because not everyone is always happy with what exactly your vision looks like. So maybe if you could speak to it, Charles, how was it taken, your initiative to, say I'm planting 1 million trees in Liberia?
Well, it hasn't been easy. There have been so many challenges. Firstly, I have to do with the getting the funds to be able to secure the trees. It has been one of the major challenges. But however, we believe that even in adversity, there's always solution. So even though we face challenges, we also believe that through innovation, you can be able to overcome challenge. So we have been working through taking little action to ensure that we achieve our goal. Even if we are not able to do it in a large scale that we want to do it as for now, but we are still taking little action, because by taking small actions, over time it will amount to more or to a huge quantity of action. So therefore, we are taking little actions. And also the willpower from government to empower young people have also been some of the challenges that we have been facing. Also, the lack of inclusion and tokenism, where government don't want to support young people. Also, other people too don't want to support or collaborate, and other people working in fragmentation. These are some challenges. But however, we have been able to brave the storm and overcome these challenges, because there's always adversity. But as long as you keep moving and you believe in yourself and you keep working hard, you'll be able to overcome these challenges.
Amazing. Yeah, and I see one picture that really struck me looking at also the challenges is trash. You go to the beach and collect litter. And this is both a cultural thing as well as, a climate change and environment issue. Looking at all the impact this one has on both the marine ecosystem and on land ecosystem as well. If you could just quickly speak about the projects and the landfills that I'm seeing in these pictures. What do you do with the trash that you're collecting as well?
So, as you mentioned, single-use plastic is one of the major challenges in Liberia. And plastic pollution is one of the major challenges, because people use single-use plastic on a daily basis. For example, to go to the market. Also, the water that people drink is in plastic, so it causes a lot of waste, plastic waste. So, in our little way, we have been able to clean beaches, to remove plastic waste from the beaches,
Okay.
to be able to protect marine environment or marine species, for example, sea turtles, fishes, and other species that live within marine ecosystem. And the picture you are looking at there is at the Wintown waste what you call it center, where it's one of the national waste centers,
Yeah.
where a lot of waste are collected and carried. So we had a field trip where we took high school students. That was during a project that UNICEF was having in Liberia, along with other organizations, to find solutions to reduce plastic pollution. And we have been working along with high school students, and we took them to a recycling center where they were able to learn to recycle plastic into other materials.
Yeah.
For example, to be able to turn plastic, for example, alphabets, and also to be able to turn plastic into other reusable materials. So those are some of the actions that we take. And also we organize the first World Cleanup Day in Liberia along with the Liberia National Tourism Association, LINTA, which was on September 20th, 2023. And this year we'll also be hosting another one in Liberia in next month of September, which will be World Cleanup Day. And we'll also be cleaning the beaches again
Yeah.
to reduce plastic pollution from the beaches. So these are little actions that we are taking to reduce plastic pollution.
Amazing. Kenya made a step and actually banned single plastic use. So these are paper bags and an assortment of these small light water bottles that we are seeing, but mostly this, carrier bags that were a really big menace. And I come from a community which keeps cows. So our cows used to eat lots of plastic, and it used to be terrible because they would die. Their health would completely be messed up with. And also, that means that you cannot really make good money out of that. And I have seen in person how clean the environment becomes when single-use plastic is banned, and also when there are regulations that keep it steady, that the production is actually banned within the country. I think that's a step that needs to be taken from Liberia as well. But I think that goes to the legislators in in your parliament. There has been.
Sure.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that we've talked about, and you've talked about it being challenging, that, there are some issues that always arise within this work, financial, and you probably would want to also know, how has it been over the years? Because I would assume that initially, maybe if you're collaborating with organizations like UNICEF, things probably have changed now. Has it become better for you, or is it still quite challenging raising support or, getting partners that are willing and understanding of what you're trying to do?
Um, it hasn't quite changed that much. We have just had the opportunity to collaborate with some of these partners, but generally, as I said, the willpower is not there. From the country itself, from the government angle to empower young people. Like, for example, in your country and other countries around, even though everywhere there are challenges, but the willpower is there where young people are supported. But as of now, these are some of the challenges that we are faced with. And also, things are getting better let me say a little bit. But however, we are still facing some of the challenges that I mentioned. Sure. So we look forward to it getting better more, but the challenges are still there.
Yeah, and that's something that we all all of us say, that there are challenges in all the aspects of things that we do. I've actually worked with campaigners who are in the NFGM campaign in Liberia, and we've seen challenges, both administrational. We've also seen challenges that relate to the financial side of things, how structures are done, the support of the UN, and how implementation of programs is done as well, and how much trickles to the grassroots as well, is something that really is concerning, especially to smaller countries in West Africa. Now we have the the English-speaking countries like, Liberia and Sierra Leone within the West African front, Guinea-Bissau, and, where the funds also come from, plus the challenges that come, the treaties that they have signed, is all determinant to, how much support comes to you on ground. We are here right now, and you are working with other young people. Do you think it's gotten to a place where you'd say Liberians are owning it? Are they seeing it as a problem? Or it's just a small issue on the coastal side of the country?
You say, have we reached to a place where Liberians are owning it?
Yes.
Yes, I would say we have reached. I wouldn't say we have reached, but I would say we are on the process of people taking ownership. For example, things are not like it was about 22 years ago when Liberia was in civil crisis. Things have changed a little bit, a lot more, and there are a lot of innovative Liberians that are taking actions in various ways to contribute positively to making Liberia and the world a better place.
Yeah.
So I would say we are on the process of taking ownership and changing the narrative. But also there are a lot of bottlenecks too. And as you know, there are always challenges, but we are still in the process. And I'm sure some years from now, things will get better. But people are starting to take responsibilities and are starting to take ownership, to take action, to ensure that they make impact and to ensure that they make.
Sorry, I lost you a little bit there, but I think you were saying that people are starting to take responsibility and to take action as well, which is also critical in making sure that this is sustainable. I'd like to close this here, but I would want to know, from where we are seated right now, what is your wish? What would you want to see change, or what kind of support do you want to see more in Liberia in terms of protecting, the beaches? As you say, you're planting 1 million trees, especially coconut trees. And number 2, keeping Liberia clean. What is your wish?
So what I would like to see basically for number 1 is to ensure that global north and other rich countries that have caused immense pollution to contribute to us global south countries to support us with the necessary technology and the necessary resilient equipment that we need. For example, we need coastal revertement, we need dikes, we also need climate finance to be able to ensure that these vulnerable communities that are affected will be able to adapt and also will be able to have the necessary resources that are needed to be able to restart a life. For example, those that are affected by disasters, sometimes they don't have nowhere to go. So there is a need for richer nations to be able to support global south nations like Liberia, like Kenya and other countries to ensure that we adapt to the climate crisis. And also there is a need for the world to have a just transition, as people are discussing transitioning to renewable energy. More than 60% of the cobalt that the world is depending on to transition to renewable energy will come from Africa, and about 40% is in the Congo. So there will be no just transition without the inclusion of Africa. So I wish that Africa will be called to the decision-making table, and it will not be based on tokenism, but it will be based on genuine inclusion.
Amazing. That's quite a point you've made, that Africa should be called on the decision-making table, not in form of tokenism, but really also being part of the leadership in terms of bringing solutions to this climate crisis that we are in. Thank you very much, Charles. Really happy and glad to have you here today. If you have one final word for the young Liberians who are going to see this, what would that be?
So for Liberians and other Africans all around the world, young people, for me, my like advice I would give is to always trust in God, always take little action, even if it's small. Your action don't have to be big to be able to make impact. There is no small program or small initiative. As long as you are making impact, be able to start with the small you have and go along the way, you'll be able to learn. The first step can always be the hardest step, but as long as you start, you'll be able to learn along the journey. And always stay positive.
Those are wise words from Charles Morgan, all the way from Liberia. Thank you very much, sir. Really happy to have had you here today. And to you, Liberian youth, the ball is on your court. I think you have a role to play, and you are no longer the future generation, but the generation that actually makes the change now. I would like to say thank you and goodbye. This has been Chini Yamti podcast. My name is Jeremiah Kipainoi. I am joining you from Nairobi here in Kenya. And here we say, Asante Sana. We will keep talking about the issues and the movers and shakers, the people who are making a difference across the continent. Today we were with Charles Morgan from Liberia, and he is on a path to plant 1 million palm trees and keeping the coastal region, basically Liberian beaches, clean. Thank you very much. Kwaheri, goodbye for now. This has been Chini Yamti. We gather here to speak, to remember, to question, to build. Just stories in the shade, truth in every tongue, and courage passed hand to hand. This is where the elders spoke. This is where the rebels whispered. This is where dreamers still return. It's the people's tree. From your hearts to the microphones on your devices, this is Chini Yamti. Under the tree.